Thank you for joining me, Hans. I'm really excited. Today we're going to go over the visibility intelligence feature set that we have in our network packet brokers. As you guys know, we have different stacks that you can license within the packet broker. So today we're actually going to focus on two of those, and that is the NetStack and the Packetstack. And Hans is going to explain a little bit in more detail what those two stacks are, and then show us a demo of how they are used and how easy it is to configure these different feature sets. Hans?
Thank you for having me today, Patrick. I'm happy to be here. This is a question I often get. So there's two different features that really are used by a large number of our customers. That's NetStack and Packetstack. NetStack is kind of the thing that allows a packet broker to really differentiate itself from a network switch and do the primary functions of being a packet broker. In that there's a couple in here, then we'll show them in the demo here in a second. Aggregation and replication. This allows you to take ports together and fan them into a filter and then fan them back out to a tool. Also, there's load balancing, so I can define a group of tools within my packet broker and distribute the data across them, as well as some of the filter compiler and the three stages of filtering we'll talk about. Packetstack is where we really grow that ability and come into our own. That allows us to do things like dedupe the traffic, where we've got the data coming in from many places within my network. So I deliver the first packet to the tools, but not the second, third, or fourth. Packet trimming allows me to strip the payload off. If you're doing something like video conferencing, that payload is going to be gobbledygook. Don't need to see it, as well as a couple of other features. So hopefully that answers what NetStack and Packetstack are. The one last thing I should add before we go into the demo, Packetstack is performed in hardware. That's with the field programmable gate arrays that we have in our hardware that allows us to do it at full line rate regardless of packet size.
That's great. Thank you.
So I'm going to drag my web browser over and make it full screen so everybody can see. And so you can see here I've got 8 ports set up as taps. This is just a Vision 1 I borrowed. I didn't hook any cables into it. That's why you don't see any link lights. But I've got 8 ports set up as taps. I've got 2 filters, and I've got 2 load balancing groups, one for performance and one for security. If I look inside the load balancing group real quick, and the ports, you can see I'm load balancing across 2 tools within each one of those. And so that's the first thing that you saw out of NetStack. The second thing out of NetStack is the aggregation and replication. So you can see all 4 of these ports are coming into my first filter. I'm aggregating all that traffic together, and I'm replicating it out to both load balance groups. I'm doing that actually for both sets of taps. I'm doing it differently because I want to be able to show you AppStack on one, and NetStack on one and Packetstack on the other. So if I go into the filter itself, I do filter criteria. This is where most of the NetStack features are shown. So if I do pass by criteria, you can see I can filter on layer 2, layer 3. All of this is just layer 2 and layer 3 filtering that you'll see. The other nice thing I can do with our GUI is if I have a predefined filter, I can just make a template out of it, drag it over, drop it, replaces it, puts it in. Now you can see I'm automatically filtering on web ports. So that's where really most of our NetStack is done. Packetstack, however, is a different tab within the same configuration. If I do packet processing, you can see here I've got a whole full list, and I'm only going to touch on a couple of these here. The ones that are really most important, the first and foremost is deduplication. So if you turn that on, you can see I delete packets with every 500 milliseconds, and I have the ability to become very smart about my dedupe and ignore different header fields. Maybe I'm on either side of a firewall, and I want to be able to ignore my layer 3 IP addresses. I would select that here, and that lets me get a higher hit rate on my dedupe because I'm not worrying about the NATed IP addresses on either side of the firewall. There's other settings there. Some of the other ones are very important. Generic header stripping. This allows me to reach in, and regardless of what header you're using, I can define it here, whether it's the start of layer 3, layer 4, which is TCP and UDP, or layer 5, which is your application payload data. I can reach in and strip that header off. I can even go down to layer 2, which is your MAC addressing, and strip those headers off. The last one I'll talk about is packet trimming. And this gets really important if maybe you want to reach in and strip off your SSL payload, but you want to retain the header field so you can see what sort of key exchange is going on, what level of TLS 1.1, TLS 1.2, TLS 1.3, you're functioning at within your environment, allows you to keep all of those fields. There's many other things you can do with Packetstack here, but hopefully this is a good introduction for you on what's going on within the packet broker.
That is great, Hans. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Thank you.